This is Jeffrey from Jeffrey App Tech, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I will be showing you part 4 of creating our Dobot iOS app. Now, first of all, I'd like to get started by covering this common error that I had, and it bugged me for a long time. It says expected expression. Well, how do you solve this? I've tried everything. I've checked for errors, everything. Well, there's a simple fix. Use curly braces and put them around your statements. This will fix your problems. And we don't put that there, but we put it here. Just enclose everything. That's it. That solved all our problems. Now we're going to be working on the IB actions. Now these are, I guess, simpler, but they're still kind of hard to use. Anyway, we'll get started with the first one. The first one's quite simple. First, we want to check if the BLE manager, shared manager, is connected. And if it is, then we want to disconnect. And if it isn't, then we want to connect, which is a little bit more complicated. Like, there's a way to search. BLE shared. And we want to scan device. 30.0F, and the mode is BLE search mode, find and connect the first. Now we want to do the get post apt. First, we want to define our payload equals payload allocate init. Then we want to payload command get pose, which will execute that command. And then we want to do payload dot complete and press enter. And for this code, you want to start by defining another payload, MSG payload, and that's equal to the Dobot Magician MSG. And we'll call it MSG. Payload. Now we want to set our pose, which we'll call P. Then you want to get the bytes and size of P. There we go. The next step, we want to put it in the log. Pose, and we'll call it X %sign 0.0F, Y %sign 0.0F, Z %sign 0.0F, R %sign 0.0F. Now you want to do p.x, p.y, p.z, p.r. Then you want to put it into the text, which is the log, but we have to do a dispatch and get the main queue. Dispatch get main queue and press enter for that. And you want to do label log or just log dot text equals text. We are done with that, except for we have to send the payload. BLE MSG MGR shared manager send MSG payload. Now let's go to PTP commands tapped, where we will be executing our PTP commands. First, you want to set an NS mutable array, which means you can change it, and we'll call it PTP commands. And it's equal to an NS mutable array with capacity of 10. Then we want to set our PTP commands. And we'll call the first one PTP command 1. And the mode is PTP move L, which we have learned about. And we want to move to 2.50.0F, 20.0F, 0.0F, and 0.0F. Then you want to set 0.1, which will just be a payload. Payload, allocate, init. Then you want to say 0.1 command PTP, and we'll say P1. Now you want to do it for P2. We'll just copy that and paste it again, and just change P1 to P2, 0.1 to 0.2, 0.1 to 0.2, and P1 to P2, and change that to -20. That's P2, and then we want to do P3, which will be, again, just changing everything to 3. But also, this gets to 200, and that stays as -20. And then we'll set P4, which is the exact same thing, 200, and it's also positive 20F. Now that'll be P4, 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 P4. Now we want to set our repeat count to 60. And it will be with nil inside. First, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. And then we want to set a for loop. For int I equals 0. I is less than the repeat count, and I increments every time. First, you want to do PTP commands add objects from array, loop commands. Then you want to init the get current pose timer. And then you want to have another for loop. This one will be for int I equals 0. I is less than the number of PTP commands. And I increments. Now payload, we'll set another payload. And that's equal to PTP commands I. Then you want to send the MSG. That's it for that function. Now we'll go to stop timer. First, if the timer is valid, then we'll just invalidate it and set it to nil. That's all we have to do. And this one is get current post timer is valid. Then we invalidate and we set it to nil. Now we'll start with start queue, which is also quite simple. We just set the payload, and that's equal to payload allocate initiate. And then we want to do payload command start queue. And then BLE MSG MGR shared manager send MSG payload. Now we just copy this and we paste it into stop queue and clear queue because we just changed the command. See, this just changes to command stop queue. This changes to command clear queue. Now we're gonna change do the switch jog mode thing. UI switch mode change is equal to a UI switch with the sender. And then now we update the jog mode. Now we'll deal with EIO. This is quite complicated. And we'll get started anyway, because then closer we get finished, faster it will be. First, you want to check if the change IODO timer is valid. If it is, great, we're going to invalidate and set it to nil. Now we're going to set our IO multiplexing to IO multiplexing. And it's equal to curly braces with a few parameters. The first one is the address. The second one is type with uint 8_t IO function dummy. And then payload with the type of payload is equal to payload allocate init. Then you want to set payload command set I/O multiplexing. And I/O multiplexing is I/O multiplexing, of course. And its Q is no. Then you want to complete with the payload. Now we want to check if the result is MSG result okay. So payload, MSG payload, which is equal to the Dobot MSG payload. And then we want to log it, print it out, which is just nslog, and we want to log it pretty much. And I forgot to put that parenthesis there. And for nslog, it will be payload.params equals %@, which means there's a parameter, which is MSG payload.params. Then we will just want to send the MSG. And we have to put that there. Send MSG payload. Now, this next function is pretty much the exact same. So I will copy this over, except for we don't need the timer part. Let's see. So, let's see what we have to change. Nothing really. It's just we have to look here. And let's see. Okay, that's it. Now we'll move down and we'll get the get EIO. This one's gonna be the last one, which will be awesome. Now let's go down, and again it's the exact same. But for stop EIO, wait a second. I think this is for stop EIO. Therefore, I'm going to switch these out. And as for EIO, it's just the exact same as this, but we change one thing. This is instead IO function DO. Then everything else is the same, except for we also have to init the init change IO/DO timer. And let's look at stop just to make sure there's nothing wrong. Great, there's nothing wrong. Here we are. We're completely done. Now, in the next part, we'll be trying it out. Make sure you download it onto your phone. And then also, I'll be showing the Dobot wiring as well. Here we are. Here's our final product. Make sure you have your Dobot Magician out along with the wireless one module. Here's my phone with the app on here. Here, I'm going to tap the connect button. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right there. And it changes to disconnect. If it does, great, you're connected. Also, this green light right here should turn solid once you are connected. Now let's press PTP commands just to see what it looks like. Connect again, and we'll click on Get Pose. And it shows us our pose right here. Shows us a pose of this Dobot Magician. You can also press Start Cue, where it just moves around. Moves in that way. Then press Stop Cue to stop it. And then you can change the mode. Get the pose again. You can move it around and the pose will change. Anyway, that was our project. It's really cool because like you're controlling your Dobot Magician through an app that you made yourself. That's a pretty big accomplishment. I mean, that's cool. And we haven't made iOS apps to do that before, have we? And then the next few videos, we'll be doing other second development things, such as through Python, through C++, and of course through Arduino. And I'll see you then.